guys? It's Jedi Joey. Figured I'd hit you guys with a little video before I hit the hay for the night. So, something that's been discussed over the last couple of weeks is Marvel is looking for some pretty experienced directors for big projects. And one of the names that's come up as a lot recently is George Miller. If you guys don't know, George Miller is most known for doing Mad Max, the newer rebooted Mad Max with Tom Hardy, as well as, which was Fury Road, but also Furiosa, the movie, which I was a big fan of. And one of the things that made that movie set the connective tissue between Marvel actors and a potential Marvel director is the fact that Chris Hemsworth was the lead villain of the Furiosa movie. So him and George Miller get along quite well, and they've had meetings with Kevin Feige. Now, what's really interesting is, in this video, we'll discuss that George Miller has passion for other Marvel projects, not just with Chris Hemsworth himself. So, we'll open up the possibility of the least likely scenario first. There's a lot of talk right now about what's going on with Hulk at Marvel. You know, She-Hulk wasn't good. People don't like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner right now, so that's kind of a whole thing. Then we got the multiverse playing with stuff. We're about to enter Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk in Brave New World in less than a month. So that's all those things are happening. It's pretty interesting. But what a lot of people want is for Paramount to loosen their grip on the fact that we cannot get a single standalone Hulk movie. We can have as many Thor movies we want. We can have as many Iron Man movies we want. We can have as many Captain America movies we want. We can even have more than one Black Widow movie if we want, since we're playing in the multiverse. But we can't have a Hulk movie because Paramount doesn't want to loosen its grip. And they've been this way since 2008, when Iron Man 1 came out, same as Incredible Hulk. Universal likes to keep its rights. But it seems like that could be changing, because it seems like they're opening the door to... Apparently George Miller has expressed interest in doing a World War Hulk movie. But here's the thing. I like Hulk, good character. I think George Miller, he could do a good World War Hulk movie, but we should be exploring other creative visionaries to do Hulk, because George Miller has a much more important job that we're going to discuss in this video. And I personally believe, and I'll give you my thoughts on this, that I think he needs to be directing Thor 5. And here's why. So first of all, with the World War Hulk thing, look, if he does World War Hulk, cool. Just make sure you do World War Hulk after Thor 5. Because George Miller's priority needs to be Thor 5. And the reason why is because Thor 4 was utter garbage. Hemsworth is one of my favorite actors, and even I didn't like Hemsworth in that movie to a degree. They made him too silly. They reverted him to... It was just a weird movie. The screaming goats. The villain was supposed to be super sinister and crazy, but because the movie's so silly, even Christian Bale doesn't work as Gore in the movie because the movie's too silly for that. It's a tonal shift. It's weird. Times, oh, I'm Gore, I'm scary. Oh, look, where's the screaming goats? Taika Waititi didn't know what the fuck he was doing. It didn't make any sense. But Thor 5, which will hopefully be the last Thor movie, we need a return to form. For me, the first Thor movie is a fun time, but it's too Shakespearean. They try to do too much Superman, less Thor. And I didn't really like that. But I love Thor 3. It was the perfect balance of comedy and action blended beautifully together. And showing Chris Hemsworth had so much charisma and incredible comedic chops made me look at Thor in a completely different light. And I really liked it. And then in Infinity War, we built into the most scary Thor and saw great character development with him, showing what true loss looks like to him. But then in Endgame, they made him Fat Thor, which became a big joke. But it was actually a serious matter because they were showing that when someone loses everything, they get depressed. And I thought the Russo brothers handled that depression very well, and I really, really enjoyed that storytelling. But with Thor 5, because Thor 4 did so much to undo Thor, we know Thor's going to have his new adopted daughter, Love, with him, who Gore asked to look after Gore was killed and given to the Celestials. But with Thor 5, not only, I'm sure we're going to get that father-daughter storyline, kind of a little bit of Thor Ragnarok like the game, which would be pretty cool. If they adapt Thor Ragnarok into like, they adapt like Ragnarok, God of War, not necessarily Thor. We already had Thor Ragnarok. So, this movie, George Miller is great at doing blends of humor, but what Thor needs is a dark storytelling. We had too much of a mixture. We have the Shakespeare Thor, we have the too comedic Thor. We were in the right level in Infinity War, Endgame, and Ragnarok. Perfect balance. Like Thanos says, perfectly balanced as all things should be. But then, we had Love and Thunder took it way up here, which did not work. So we need to go like the middle ground of like, we can have some comedy. I think Hercules will return since they set him up in Love and Thunder, and he'll be a good villain. And Zeus will be a main antagonist, played by Russell Crowe, which was brilliant. I just hope that he's less silly in this movie. But here's the issue. I think we need a serious antagonist in this movie. I like Hercules. He's a good character. He's more of... Hercules is more of a middleman in this situation. We need a real villain. And if this is to truly be the last Thor movie, we need to do the Thor villain we should have done from the beginning. We did Loki. It was awesome. We did Hela. It was awesome. We did Gore. I would have preferred Gore got saved for Thor 5 because I think they could have developed him better and made him darker, but they failed at that. So now the only opportunity that we get to do is we got to do Amora the Enchantress. If you don't know Amora the Enchantress, I most know her from Earth's Mightiest Heroes. She has a connection to both Loki and Thor, and so she's an enchantress. So her ability is to enchant men to her cause, right? So she's kind of like Marvel's Poison Ivy. She makes other men fall in love with her, do her bidding. She's a true goddess of chaos, and she's fantastic. And a lot of people thought that's what we were going to get with Sylvie, but Sylvie was a straight up disappointment and did not, and just was a female Loki copycat. We didn't end up getting what we thought we were going to get here, which is we didn't get Amora. Now, I have no idea who you could cast for Amora. I'd have to look through different castings, but I just want them to do Amora because I think she's a great Thor character, and I think in terms of the lore and the mythos, I think that would be great. But another thing they have to do with Thor 5 is return Thor to his strength. In Infinity War, we got this peak level of Thor, and then Endgame, where I did enjoy Endgame, they made Thor a little weak to show that he was depressed and stuff. He wasn't as strong. There's only, if you go by the comics, there's only one truly strong route of Thor. If you want to bring this Thor movie into the next version, the best storyline to do is you mix it with God of War Ragnarok, with Thor having his daughter Love. But, you, like I said, you make this movie dark, have Amora the Enchantress, have Hercules, tackle all these storylines, but here's the kicker. You want the best version of Thor? You adapt Rune King Thor from the comics. Because Rune King Thor was the strongest Thor there is. So Thor finally will ascend to the throne of Asgard in this movie, and he will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And in the comics, he's able to do so many different things with those powers, even more than just swing a hammer around and shoot lightning. So, honestly, guys, George Miller's the guy for this. He can handle dark tones, he can handle comedy, he can handle good villain writing, and, you know, Chris Hemsworth introduced George Miller to Kevin Feige, so if they're planning a new movie, you gotta think it's Thor 5. Like, I think it could be World War Hulk, but I think Thor 5 is more likely. And we can get Thor 5 ready to shoot soon, and I think we'll get to see a lot more of Thor in both Doomsday and Endgame, in Secret Wars. So I think hopefully Thor 5 comes out in the next couple of years, and if it doesn't come out during the next two Avengers movies, hopefully it comes out after. But I would love to see Thor 5. And I really think that even though I didn't like Thor 4, George Miller would give us that chance to get a truly good, amazing Thor film to send off the Thor franchise in the right direction. And so we can say, hey, what do you think of the Thor movies? Well, I liked the first one. I didn't like the second one. I love the third one. Didn't like the fourth one. But the fifth one was great. So then you get to be 3-2, which would be much better routes than having one just horrible Thor movie and not picking up the character again. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys want to see Rune King Thor? You want to see more of the Enchantress? Let me know what you guys think. What's your pitch for Thor 5? Do you think George Miller could direct a perfect Thor 5 movie? You think it would be dark? You think it would be awesome? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments below. And remember, hit that like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. And remember, you've been thunderstruck.
Woo!